Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Um, this is the second video in my Living Life After Life series. And I was sitting today just wondering what I was going to talk about. But I think it's just best that I just start from the beginning and pretty much introduce y'all to Timothy, okay? Let you know what happened in his life, why he ended up incarcerated, what happened in that case and how he ended up there, how much time he got, and how I met him years later. Okay, so in 1987, there was a robbery that ended in a murder of a minister outside of University Hospital in Baltimore City. Okay, a 15-year-old was arrested for that crime, and Timothy's only involvement came to be because a witness said that he had on a particular jacket, that the person who was involved in this murder had on a particular jacket, and Timothy had just purchased that jacket like the day before. So he had that jacket on and when he was arrested for this crime. Okay, I will even go back further than that. When Timothy was young, during his teenage years or whatever, he was in the drug game. This all happened when he was 22. And for the years prior to that, he was a drug dealer. So Baltimore City Police was very familiar with him. And he was like a thorn in their side. They did not like him. So when all of this came to be, I won't say that they used their influence, but the circumstances with this case was so that anybody can see that he had no involvement, because he's left-handed. His left hand was in a cast at the time, but there was this ballistics expert who testified saying that he could fire a gun with a cast on his hand. Okay. At the time, he was dating a young lady who worked at the Civic Center, and she testified during the case that he was there with her. And so what they did, they had a Baltimore City cadet run from University Hospital to the Civic Center, change his clothes or whatever, and say that it was, Timothy could have done that in 5 minutes. So because their cases weren't separate, his case and the 15-year-old, their case wasn't separate. When the boy pleaded the fifth during his case, Timothy's lawyer advised him not to testify because, he just knew he was going to be good. He had a cast on his hand. You know, it was just so many things that his only involvement was this jacket, so they just knew he was going home until, he was found guilty. And the lawyer just broke down and cried because nobody could believe it. But anyway, he was given a life term and 36 years, okay? So I'm going to fast forward to the year 2000. Okay, this all happened in 1987. He was 22. So we're going to fast forward to the year 2000 when I met him. I was working out at a prison in Jessup, Maryland. And that's where I met him. I was on a special team, and he was with us all day from the moment I got there to the moment I left, pretty much, doing things for us. And he was always a kind-hearted person, so he always went out of his way to do things. And at the time, I was married. I had been married, but I was not happy. I was miserable. And then here comes along this guy who you always dreamed of, just the physical attributes, tall and dark and, bald-headed. But yeah, so he was there right in front of me, and then this disposition, it just won me over. I was smitten. I really was. And just being around him all day long, and I got to talk to him, just, got to see the type of person that he was. He had always been the type of person that, although he was a drug dealer, he was always a giver. He used to donate so much money to Be Gaddy and her organization to buy clothing and school supplies for children. He had certain homeless people that he would feed and clothe and give money every day. He was just a giver. So it wasn't hard to fall in love with him. I mean, everybody loved Timothy, from the officers, inmates, whoever. Everybody loved him because he was just, that type of person. So, like I said, it was easy to fall in love with him, and I did. I did. I had to tell my husband eventually, when things came to the forefront, because once Timothy fell in love, the whole game changed. It was supposed to have been a thing that was kept between him and I. Although it was a lot of other officers, they had their boyfriends and everybody was doing their thing. It was a thing that I didn't want to get out, but he was so in love and he wanted everybody to know, that I was his woman. Oh, God. If you know how in jail guys gonna say stuff to you, or he was pulling people up, confront this guy, confront that guy, and it all came to the forefront eventually. Yeah, and everything fell apart. So, and like I said, I had to tell my husband, and although we worked things out, I became a little resentful because I felt that if Timmy would have just shut his mouth, everything could have been good. But, all things happen for a reason. So after things fell apart with my husband, and, at some point I just became curious about Timothy, what he was into, what he was doing. It had been 10 years. And my heart just led me back to him. And I wrote him a letter. And, his cellmate, was saying, oh, you're all he ever talked about for all these years. He just was praying and hoping and wishing and praying and hoping that you would come back to him. And then there I was. It was like, I don't know if it was God, chance, fate, destiny, what have you, but it just appears that we were meant to be together, and so all of these years, it's just been a fight to try to get him home. He's had this hearing that he just had was his 5th one. So over the years, it was just getting our hopes up that he was coming home, and then he don't come home, doesn't come home, he doesn't come home, he doesn't come home. We'll see you in a year, we'll see you in 2 years. So it was just a wait. And that's why I was so excited when, I received the news that they finally said yes, because they couldn't understand why he was incarcerated. I've had so many of my prisoners from down the jail go home completely exonerated of their crimes because they were innocent. And when Timothy told me he was innocent, I really believed him. And I still do believe him that he had nothing. Even the wife of the minister who was murdered said doesn't believe he had anything to do with it. And she was pushing for him to come home as well. She even wrote a letter. But I won't say it's been easy, It's been quite hard, especially when I'm the type of woman that likes to be held and likes to be kissed and, all that good stuff. It's just been hard, being by myself. So a couple of years back, like 2018, there was this situation that I found myself in with somebody that was like Timothy, so much like him, except they were in 2 different bodies. His whole disposition was him. It was like he was here with me, and I just got so caught up in that. He was really, they were the same person except 2 different bodies. So but since me and Timmy always promised that we would never lie to each other about anything. I shared that with him, and just to see him break down and cry the way he broke down and cried, it was no way that I was going to leave him back then, although I had considered it, I could have easily left, but I stayed because, this man has come into my life, not only my life, but my family's lives, and just opened their hearts. I have a great relationship with his family. He comes from a great family. He has just showed me so much about myself that I didn't realize, and it has made me a better woman just by him. He's always been so patient with me, and I can be a handful. I'm a lot. I won't lie. I'm a handful. But this man has been so patient and so tolerant of everything. I can do no wrong in his eyes. No matter what I do, he'll make an excuse for me, just to make it okay. So I knew we were meant to be together, and regardless of how, I won't say how long I had to wait, because it was a limit, trust me, but I know that this is the person that I'm supposed to be with for the rest of my life, and I'm really looking forward to him coming home and us starting our lives together. His whole plan is to sue the state of Maryland, sue the Division of Corrections, sue the estate of that ballistic expert, and get his millions, because this man has lost 34 years out of his life. When he got locked up, he was 22. Imagine how much you've done in your life from the age of 22 to 56. I mean, that's a lot of years. Just go back in your life, 34 years of your life, everything that you've done, everything that you've accomplished. For somebody to just take that away from you, I mean, he has to, fight to get his just due. And it has been a fight. I mean, we've had so many lawyers, not only the parole thing, but we've had so many lawyers that's just been lying to us over the years. One lawyer lied for 4 years. One lawyer died after a year and a half. This lawyer has been on the case for 3 years and hasn't done anything. I wrote the Innocence Project, who were willing to take his case, but because he has a lawyer appointed, they won't take the case until that lawyer is gone. They're familiar with this ballistics expert and all of the havoc that he's been wreaking in Baltimore City. So they've gotten a lot of guys off. Those guys received millions of dollars, and they hadn't spent half the time in prison that Timmy has spent in prison. So the fight continues. But I just wanted to start you with that little bit, and a little bit, it was like 12, 13 minutes. But I'm going to start you with that, and I'm going to go into some more later on. But before I go, I'm going to plug my book again, because I have so much in here about, what happened when I met him, things that happened, all the juicy tidbits is in here, what happened when I left. It's just so much that happened, but it's all in here. You can get the Kindle, you can get this paperback on Amazon and read about it, so that the backstory with us. All right, so I'm going to let you go with that, and until we talk again, like and comment, subscribe to the channel so you're aware of other videos that I drop. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section. I don't mind answering any questions, because I know the people just don't understand it, but we'll talk. All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.